Being valued socially is critical for us as people. It's critical because, regardless of whether or not we want to admit it, we are still a socially dependent species. We are born relationally dependent. Our only way of getting our needs met is if the people in our environment actually value us. If they value us, if they see us as good or positive in some way, then obviously they're going to keep us around, and that keeps us alive. If we are valued, do we get the things we genuinely need on a physical, emotional, and mental level? Things like significance, belonging, physical touch, love, and caretaking when we're young or sick, just to start. These are things that a person cannot live without. We need them. But this puts us in a double bind. It means we end up having to win people's favor or try to become whatever society we are raised in values. Whether we like it or not, or whether we want to admit it or not, the thing that society still values in a woman the most is what she looks like. The extreme emphasis we put into body positive campaigns and it's on the inside that counts type of propaganda, and believing that if you think that what's most important is looks, it makes you bad. This effort suggests just how pervasive this value is when it comes to women. In other words, the thing that people value the most in women is whether she's beautiful, attractive, or sexy. This value is embedded in our society. It is even embedded in our biology. From the minute a little girl enters the world, the focus goes to whether she's pretty or not. And she's raised in a society that teaches her either directly or indirectly that a specific thing is considered beautiful and desirable and worthy of notice and also care. She has one single option: to try to fit into that box and be what society considers to be beautiful and desirable, or suffer the consequences. These consequences are constantly reinforced. They're reinforced by teachers. They're reinforced by parents. They're reinforced by peers. So what does this mean for women? It means that women who cannot make themselves fit into the tiny box of looks that would make them be valued in the way they are essentially fighting a losing battle with significance. It means that most women are spending their whole lives feeling insecure about their bodies and their value, striving to fit into that box and compete with one another. It means that women who do fit into that tiny box spend their lives feeling as if no one actually cares about them at all, and that they're doomed to lose their value one day and be a commodity up until that point. We've got to stop telling the story that looks don't matter. It's a completely separate topic whether they should matter or not, but what I'm suggesting is that it's a huge gaslight, especially for young girls, when they're getting these mixed messages. They're getting inundated with the idea that looks actually do matter. And they absolutely do, still, currently. But at the same time, they keep getting the message that it shouldn't matter, and it doesn't matter, and blah, 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 blah. This is creating a huge degree of confusion amongst women. It's our own attachment to our own ego that makes it so that we have to believe that we are the one exception for whom looks don't matter. It's also our own ego that has the attachment to being good when we pretend that we don't put intense amounts of energy into the way that we look. The reality is, in the world today, looks matter. Doesn't matter whether it should or shouldn't matter at this moment, because in a world where looks really matter, it puts women in an incredible double bind. And the double bind is this: we want the very thing we resent intensely. Either we turn against our bodies and resort to plastic surgery or extreme diet regimens, or spend tons of money on products that hold the promise of looking good. Or we spend our life campaigning against the fact that society cares so much about our looks. Now, what do we know about rebellion? Rebellion is to push against something. We're still feeding into the idea that looks matter when we're doing this. Or we cope by trying to make it okay. When we do this, we accept that the reality is that we are commodities and suppress the aspect of it that resents it. We allow ourselves to be treated like sexual objects or trophies in a kind of transaction to get what we want in exchange. As a woman, it's like being in an incredible prison, where we want the very thing we also really don't want. What this does within women is it creates an incredible internal tension. Because obviously, what are we supposed to do? We want this to change. We don't want our looks to have everything to do with whether we're valued or not. But at the same time, very few of us are willing to take the massive risks involved in trying to change it. Because we have needs. We want to be significant, wanted, noticed, valued, and considered attractive, so we take actions to look as good as we possibly can. We may try to deny that we want it, because we've been shamed into believing that wanting it makes us so bad, at the same time as we've been told we should be those things. Pretending we don't want the attention or to be desired in that way is a real shadow within the female race in general. Obviously, because we're so inundated with the idea, or the mixed message basically, that on the one hand you should be as sexy as possible, and on the other hand, if you're super sexy, it makes you a whore or self-centered, and you really shouldn't be focused on whether you look good or not. That mixed message drives us completely crazy, by the way. But what happens is this. We have to lie to people. We have to pretend as if we're not dressing in this way to get the attention. But we absolutely are. And women have to start admitting it. Now, no woman, obviously, deserves to be the victim of violent rape or some other sexual assault as a result of trying to make herself look attractive. However, it does not do any justice to us if we are lying about the fact that we are trying to get attention by looking the way that we're making ourselves look. But there is a flip side. The flip side is we become commodities. Now, women fuel this emphasis on the fact that looks have so much to do with our value. We actually propagate this idea with one another. We try to push ourselves into looking as good as we possibly can according to the societal standards. This is completely screwed. Why? Because we pressure ourselves into it, and then we compete with each other for it. But men ingrain it into women to a degree where it feels beyond our capacity to transcend. In general, men make it such an obvious priority and such an obvious value that they put us into a position to have to compete for their attention and praise. Today I've decided not to make a video with any great solution in it. Instead, I've created a video to enhance your awareness and self-awareness. I am proposing that we all need to look at the fact that within society, and this is unanimous across society still today, looks and value with women, they go together. They're one and the same. I am proposing that we, both men and women, take an accurate look at admitting to when we are prioritizing this value. I am proposing that, especially as women, we notice when we are doing this, when we are dressing in ways to make ourselves be perceived as attractive, when we're dressing in ways to get attention. And not that we stop doing it, but that when we do it intentionally. So I know that I am dressing this way so that I can be looked at in X, Y, and Z way. I know that I'm putting on this makeup so that I can get this type of reaction. When it's a conscious process, it's a whole bunch more safe for the psychology of your embodiment than when you're doing it subconsciously. I am proposing that we as women see just how deep this need to be valued in this way goes. And I am proposing that both men and women become completely conscious of this double bind that especially women find themselves so squarely in. That we want to feel valued for our looks, but at the same time we are so deeply resentful of the fact that our value is so equated to our looks. Have a good week.